Hello, everybody. My name is Anil Shyam, and I head the alternatives and the passives business for Aditya Birla Life Mutual Fund. Today, I'm here to present you the rationale of why investing in silver makes sense from the point of view of portfolio asset allocation. As you already may be aware, it's been a long-standing demand of the industry as well as the investment community for the regulatory nod for the launch of such silver funds, and the approval has finally been accorded. All of us also know that in India, we have been intuitively inclined towards investing in physical silver through gifting items, primarily during the festival period, through silver coins, silverware, and jewelry. We in India account for 25% global demand in jewelry and 58% global demand for silverware. And incidentally, both have grown at about 14 to 15% in the last about a decade. So the investment demand has already been there. Also, it is noteworthy for all of us to know that the industrial usage of silver, particularly in the last 5 years, has led to an increase in demand for the precious metal. Its properties like malleability, ductility, reflectiveness, more importantly, thermal and electrical conductivity relative to other metals like copper, has made it valuable in the growth of modern economy. Till about 2017, the demand and supply were equivalent to each other, but subsequently there's been a great mismatch owing to the absence of new mine discoveries. It's important for us to know that silver is largely produced as a byproduct of the mining of other metals like lead, zinc, for the matter even gold. And only 20% of it is attributed to the new discoveries through mines. So the last 5 years, silver has got recognized as a mass industrial metal with wide range of applications in industries like telecom, 5G technology, batteries, electric vehicles, renewable energy, primarily solar, pharma and space. Therefore, demand has been growing at about 15% while the supply has more or less been saturated at about 8%, and that explains the reason why silver shot up to the levels that it did until about a year back. Of course, it has corrected from those levels by about 10% or so, but is still hovering at about 60,000 odd rupees per kg. Speaking of the industrial usage, of course, the government has also complemented most of these modern economies by offering production-linked incentives to sectors like pharma, to sectors like renewable energy. And I think increasingly most of the countries across the world, after having signed the Paris Accord, are in allegiance with the fact that climate control is becoming a very daunting task for everybody, and everybody needs to take measures for it to be ensured that going forward the world becomes a better place for us to live in. And hence, the government's focus on incremental power generation through renewable energy, particularly solar panels, is also on the forefront of why we think that silver will be required incrementally. For example, the photovoltaic cells which go into producing the solar panels, which convert the sunlight into power, is something that requires a lot of silver. Also, in the automobile industry, from the starting of the car to the upping and downing of power windows and small applications across other automobile functions, silver is required. Not only that, I think there are a whole lot of small other electronic devices where the demand for silver has risen considerably. And apart from, of course, the investment demand, which I spoke about earlier, is the industrial usage, particularly in transitional economic technologies, that is leading us to believe that silver going forward will be an asset avenue which will yield good returns, decent returns. Now, from an investor's perspective, as an investment avenue, where is it positioned? So it lies at the optimal point in the risk-return matrix. While it could be thought of as a hedge, just like gold against inflation, it is more closely related to the growth in the economy. And post-COVID, we saw the economy going through a lot of doldrums, and in fact, in the aftermath of COVID, we did struggle on the economy front. But as we move ahead 18 months henceforth, we see that the economy has not only consolidated, but it has come back to be on the strong footing. And all of the major companies representing various sectors seem to be doing very well. So if the economy seems to be doing well, it seems to be evolving beyond the consolidation phase and seems to be entering a very secular kind of bull bull run, then obviously from a logic standpoint, silver is bound to do well. In the last few years also, it is important for all of us to know that COVID brought about a softening of the interest rate regime, and risk premium on fixed income avenues got brought down considerably to all-time lows. Not only did the fixed deposit returns plummet to all-time lows, and the older FDs, as and when they were maturing, were being repriced at lower risk premium levels. Also, the mutual fund returns on fixed income return, which used to hover around 8 to 9% last 3 or 4 years, have now come down to about 4%. And any which ways, because of an upward interest rate pressure, it is pretty likely that probably in the next about 8 to 9 months, there may be negative returns on the fixed income portfolio as well. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the erstwhile days of high risk premium, high returns in fixed income avenues, which used to be an important proportion of the overall asset allocation model for all sets of investors, has diminished to a level where even if the interest rates were to come back, they wouldn't be at the same levels again. Hence, investors have sought compensation in the form of commodity metal being a part of the portfolio to the extent of 10 to 12%. While gold has been in fact growing in appetite for all such investors, we believe that silver also, to the extent of 5 to 7%, ideally should be part of the portfolio, not only purely from the point of view of diversification, also from the point of view of the secularity in the appetite, particularly from the industrial usage rationale that I gave to you earlier. So this particular silver FOF has been set to track the performance of silver, and performance will be benchmarked against the domestic price of silver, London Bullion Market Association LBMA, daily spot fixing. Now this is an open-ended scheme, open for subscription from the 13th, and the issue closes on 27th. It will primarily invest in units of ABSL silver ETF, which in turn invests in either physical silver or silver related instruments. The FOF structure most importantly provides a leeway for such investors to invest in silver who do not have a demat account, and hence they also in fact are absolved of the difficulty of liquidating the asset, which many people may think that is a difficult thing to do while exiting out of such ETFs. So units of silver can be bought and sold back to the mutual fund through the FOF route. So far as the taxation is concerned, of course, just like any other FOF taxation, anything that gets redeemed before 3 years gets taxed at the slab rates, and post 3 years, of course, there's 20% taxation, long-term capital gain, with of course indexation benefits. So summing up, I think purely from the point of view of investors, the logic and rationale of why somebody should invest in a silver FOF is not only confined to diversification or the need to diversify. It is also from the point of view of it being meritorious from a future standpoint, where probably the government and the entire ecosystem is hinting at increased demand for the metal, primarily because of its usage in the modern economy, and the need for us to be in fact increasing our efforts on the renewable energy side. So I think that's something that I wanted to take you through. Please in fact find some money to invest in this fund. I believe from a 3 to 5 year perspective, given the fact that there's a secularity of demand, durability of demand, and also given the fact that the economy seems to be on a strong footing once again, I think the entire environment for silver as an asset class bodes well for it, and I think it will yield good results. Thank you so much. All the best and happy investing. Thanks a lot.